Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Brady's deal with the Raiders seems to be going downhill. But what is Mark Davis trying to pull off? Why are other NFL owners holding Mark Davis back? And what is the plan overall for Mark Davis and this team? Plus, Davante Adams opened up about his former team, the Green Bay Packers. The Raiders play them on Monday night. Unfortunately, the Chandler Jones situation is not over. We have an update on him. Oh, and you know that Colin Kaepernick guy? Well, he's hanging out with some people employed by the Raiders. There's something going on there. We're gonna break this down. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Raiders content. And we're live doing play-by-play during the games. Turn on notifications so you do not miss it. The Raiders have some key injuries. Jimmy Garoppolo has not been cleared yet from concussion protocol. He missed the game last week. Aiden O'Connell filled in because he was still going through concussion protocol and he did not pass yet. However, it's usual for players to take more than a week to pass concussion protocol, and Jimmy Garoppolo is still practicing, so it is likely that the Raiders will see him in this upcoming game against the Green Bay Packers. You also have Davante Adams a little shaken up after that shoulder injury in this last game. Hopefully he's okay, but it's likely that Davante Adams will be there playing with Jimmy Garoppolo. The one person that I think we have to worry about here is Nate Hobbs. Nate Hobbs missed this past game and now he is still out, not participating with an ankle injury. Hopefully this guy will be good to go. And the Raiders are facing some familiar faces in this upcoming matchup against the Packers, mainly Rich Bisaccia. Rich Bisaccia here, who was the interim head coach in 2021. John Gruden was canceled and Bisaccia filled in and was a good motivator and was able to lead the team down the stretch to a playoff appearance. And right now he's the special teams coordinator of the Packers. Josh McDaniels has been a bad selection at head coach, but at the same time Bisaccia did not get any offers anywhere else. Remember, he was interviewed for the head coaching job, but Mark Davis chose Josh McDaniels instead. And maybe that's the right choice, especially if Bisaccia didn't get a deal anywhere else, but I think he's going to really want a revenge game against the Raiders, especially given the fact that they rolled with McDaniels instead of him. And I've been talking about the Packers maybe wanting a revenge game against Davante Adams since he left them and joined the Raiders, but he said there's no bad blood between him and the Packers.
We ended in a good place. I still not frequently, but I still speak to, the front office guys over there. I checked in on Matt in the offseason, hit him on his birthday. All the coaches over there, I love the ones that are still there. So, the players, obviously they understood the situation as well. So it wasn't some big crazy breakup that people thought it was.
And that's interesting that he's still friends with Matt LaFleur. He still talks to the general manager over there, to the front office over there. And we get all these positive reports about Davante Adams. Apparently he loves being a Raider. He's happy. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. He wants to stay in Vegas and ride this out. That is what you had Jeremy Fowler say on ESPN, that the Raiders have no plans to trade away Davante Adams and that he's happy there. But we never know if any of these reports are true, right? Maybe Davante Adams is just trying to play nice in case he wants to get shipped out of here. And if he were to be traded away from the Raiders, I think the Green Bay Packers would be a destination that could work out. You already worked with that GM before, and the Raiders almost worked a deal with the Packers again to send Darren Waller there. It just never materialized. But overall, nobody knows. Maybe Davante will be traded one day. Maybe he'll be a Raider forever. Hey, maybe he'll be a Raider longer than the current coaching staff. The main thing is this just another game for him, or is it something more than that? He claims that it's just another game, but I think the Raiders really need to bounce back here at home. Many people think a new head coach is a solution for the Raiders or a new quarterback. Well, we got a quarterback who wants a job right now, Colin Kaepernick. This guy recently wrote a freaking letter to the New York Jets asking to be on their practice squad. He claims he's been training. The 35-year-old former quarterback had a workout with the Raiders in 2022. Remember that? And apparently on his resume, on his references, you got Mark Davis, Raiders owner there, who's a big reference for Colin Kaepernick. And now we got Colin Kaepernick hanging out in Vegas with Raiders president Sandra Douglas Morgan. This is sort of odd, Kaepernick hanging out in Summerlin, hanging out in Vegas at a tech event, and Sandra Douglas Morgan happens to be there. People can claim that this is no big deal. This is just whatever. They just happen to be hanging out at the same tech event. Don't worry about that. It's not a big deal that they both work in the football industry, that Mark Davis is a reference for this guy as quarterback, that this guy has worked out for the Raiders as a quarterback just recently, and that the Raiders need a quarterback right now. Jimmy Garoppolo is already banged up. Aiden O'Connell looks like he's a rookie, not yet ready to go. On one level, this will probably end up not being being a big deal, but if we end up in a situation where Kaepernick works out with the Raiders again, hell, if they even sign this guy, who knows if that happens, we're all going to be looking back at this event and being like, wow, why did we not sound the alarm back then? And so Sandra Douglas Morgan is a speaker at this event. That's why she's there. We don't know why Kaepernick is there. Why is Kaepernick there? Maybe he's going to try to turn the Kaepernick charm on, try to get Sandra Douglas Morgan a few more wines in her, and then he could flirt his way to a job with the Raiders. But the Raiders got tons of problems right now. They got coaching problems. We've been telling you about that since last year, early in the season, from scapegoat Josh McDaniels, that he's been a problem. And now they have ownership problems. Mark Davis has been trying to sell a part of the team to Tom Brady, and he's been unable to do so. And we have a new development right now. Maybe Al Davis is rising from the grave and helping to prevent this, but it seems like the Raiders may not be able to sell any piece to Tom Brady at all. The former Patriot Tom Brady is trying to get 5 to 10% of the Raiders from Mark Davis, and the problem right now, according to the Washington Post, is the fact that Mark Davis is trying to give Brady a huge discount. He's trying to give Brady 70% off. This is like freaking better than any outlet store I've been to. And this report was by the Washington Post. You got Raiders Beat going more in depth on here, but yeah, Tom Brady's trying to get basically Raiders shares and a minority share in the Raiders at freaking Dollar Tree prices from budget Mark Davis over here. This is absolutely ridiculous, man. So the NFL is going to vote on this in October, and they're pretty much going to say no. That's what everybody knows at this point. All the insiders are around this information, and it's because the league's finance committee is concerned about the discounted price that the Raiders owner Mark Davis is offering Brady, trying to give the 70% off. And what's so crazy about this is you usually give a huge discount when that person is going to have little to no say in operations. But many people think that Brady would have a lot to say in operations. He's already working with Mark Davis as a minority owner in the Las Vegas Aces, the WNBA team. And keep in mind, according to Pro Football Talk, the league shot down the idea that Mark Davis can have somebody be paid in equity who's an employee. He was planning to employ Tom Brady with the Raiders in some fashion and was going to pay him with shares, pay him with the partial ownership. And the NFL said you can't do that, and Mark Davis spoke out against it. He was pissed off about it because he hoped to use employment of Brady as a device for subsidizing the equity, according to Pro Football Talk. So the main point here is that Mark Davis wants Brady involved in decisions, wanted to have him as an employee, can't do that, and also wants to give Brady a huge discount on this 5 or 10% ownership of the Raiders. And now it looks like he cannot do that because the NFL does not want him to give that huge freaking liquidators discount, because then it's going to devalue the other teams in the league. The NFL owners are going to vote on this in a couple weeks, October 17th, and they're all likely going to say no. Then they're likely going to try to vote again in December, and they'll likely say no again. There's no indication that Tom Brady or Mark Davis are going to rewrite their agreement and do a different deal. We have no indication there. And so this might seriously put a halt into Mark Davis and Tom Brady's plans. The question is, why does Mark Davis want to give him such a discount? And why did Mark Davis want him to be an employee of the team in some fashion? The only thing that makes sense to me is the fact that Brady is a former player and can't actually afford to buy part of this team. And the only job that I could see Mark Davis having Brady do right before he goes into broadcasting with CBS next year, which is a full-time freaking job, the only job I could see is him playing freaking quarterback for the Raiders. That, to me, that's the only thing that makes sense. Mark Davis has been trying to get Brady as part of the Raiders at QB since 2020. John Gruden said no. Now that there's no Gruden involved, you got Josh McDaniels, Brady's little boy, out there as your head coach. I think Mark Davis is trying to give him cheap-ass shares to have him play quarterback for the Raiders this year. To me, that's the only thing that makes sense, unless Brady's randomly going to be part of the front office. Hey, I don't know. Dave Ziegler, the GM, seems like he needs the help, so maybe Brady should be part of the front office. I think Brady would have taken Jalen Carter over Tyree Wilson. What do you guys think? Mark Davis desperately wanting Brady to be part of the Raiders just makes it seem like McDaniels is more long-term than we realize, which is a bummer. And the only way for McDaniels to be stopped as the Raiders head coach is through Chandler Jones, actually. I think that's the only way. And we got Chandler Jones. He paid the bill. He got released from the Raiders. He had some wild antics on social media, and he's back on Twitter saying some more about Josh McDaniels. I'm not sure what the story is because I was told not to read the news, did not know I was cut. Now I want to take Josh McDaniels out of office. He got the burner to talk about this situation, LOL. So Chandler Jones is still putting the focus on Josh McDaniels, wants to take him out of office. And not only does Chandler Jones want to take Josh McDaniels out, but he wants to make America great again. He says, if I got cut from the Raiders for trying to make America great again, then so be it. It was fun. I was cut as an American man, raised on the left side my whole life. Top dog. And he's got more comments here. Someone saying, no, expose. If you really F with the silver and black, do what you got to do to have McDaniels fired. And Chandler Jones says, please don't tempt me, Vory voice. So Chandler Jones keeps posting more stuff. He's a little incoherent. But I think at this point, if this guy gets Josh McDaniels fired somehow, I think Raider Nation will embrace him and he'll definitely be once a Raider, always a Raider. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. We're going to be live during the Monday Night Football game between the Packers and the Raiders on this channel, and we're also going live for DC and the Saints on Sunday versus the Patriots. We hope you guys join us on this channel for our live streams. My name is Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.